Time now for the community profile for this Wednesday, the 10th of June, 2015. And it's Milton Baker along with co-host and executive producer of the program, Sandy Alexander. Hello, Sandy.
Good morning, Milton.
Good morning to you. Good morning. And if you would, please introduce our special guest for today.
It will be my pleasure. We are pleased to have Emily Epilly. She is the executive director at the Earl Scruggs Center, right in downtown Shelby. And we're pleased to have you with us, Emily. And I've been reading over this for several days. You've got some really good stuff coming up, and from picking and grinning all the way to the hickabillies, and I'm going to let you explain them. But it is good to have you, and just tell us what's going on at the Earl Scruggs Center.
Well, thanks. I'm excited to be here. There are so many things going on. We have the hickabillies. I'll tell you more about them in a minute. We also have our Pickin' on the Square series, and they're going to actually help us kick that off this summer. We do one Pickin' on the Square, June, July, and August. And then we're doing something really exciting. We're calling it Star Spangled Summer, and the hickabillies kind of help inspire us with this because they were active duty military when they met. And as we've talked with them about doing this program for us on June 27th, we've started to just have more and more of a desire to do something that would really support our military, both the active duty as well as the veterans, because they all sacrifice so much and their families sacrifice so much. So we learned about an opportunity called the Blue Star Museums, which is a program of the National Endowment of the Arts, as well as the Department of Defense. And we wanted to kind of figure out if this was something we might be able to do, and what it is. It's over 2,000 museums who offer free admission through the Blue Star Museums program to active duty military and their family members. And so we started exploring it, and we thought, gosh, that would be so fantastic, but we don't want to leave the veterans out. So we said, we want to add the veterans in, and how are we going to make this happen? So we started looking for a partner, and the city of Shelby stepped up and has sponsored it. So all summer long, from Memorial Day to Labor Day, all active duty military personnel and their families get in free to the Earl Scruggs Center, and then all veterans get in free to the Earl Scruggs Center.
Oh, that's
so
great.
We're really excited. And that was all inspired by the hickabillies.
The hickabillies.
Yeah. I had to practice saying that a little bit because I kept saying hillbillies. I said, no. Hickabillies.
Hickabillies.
I said that on the way up the road. I said, please don't let me say hillbillies. But, we've never paid, to me, proper due to them because, if it weren't for them going over there and fighting for us and looking after us every day, as well as our law enforcement, as well as our fire departments, we'd be in a mess.
Yeah.
But, my dad taught me years ago, don't ever pass by a military man without saying, thank you for protecting our country, or I appreciate what you do. He said, always let them know that you do appreciate what they do. And I try to make that a habit.
That's a good one.
And now they look at me strange at first, but
they look at me strange anyway. So.
But I am very appreciative and thank them. I've got a couple of little cousins. They went in right out of high school. And boy, do they look different now. You heard, you go in a little boy and come out a man. Mm-hmm. My brother, he looked like a pencil when he got on that jet.
Oh, yeah.
And when he got back after 2 tours in Vietnam, we barely recognized him.
Wow.
But it's what they do for us, we can never, pay it back. But what we can do is what we're doing now, and letting them come and perform, and knowing that they helped over there. Can you imagine the Iraqi people here in bluegrass?
Yeah. And that's
but it's a universal language. Music is music.
Music is. It brings everybody together in all different types of situations, whether it's the best of times or the most challenging times. There seems to always be music in the mix. So it's kind of fun how this all came about. I met a fella at a museum conference, actually, who was working on the North Carolina National Guard Museum that's going to be opening in Raleigh. And when he heard I was with the Earl Scruggs Center, he got all excited and said, oh, I have these buddies, and they played together, and they love bluegrass, and they're called the Hickabillies, and they met when they were serving in Iraq. And they started playing together, and they toured around Iraq. I said, they toured Iraq.
I know.
And they actually...
We're not talking about Disneyland
I know.
here.
They sent me a poster, and it's their tour dates across Iraq. This was in 2004. And so he started telling me more about it. I said, oh my gosh, we need to have these guys come to the Earl Scruggs Center, because what a wonderful thing. We always like to have people come and share their stories and share their music. So it's Music and Stories of Bluegrass in Iraq. And it's on June the 27th. From 2 to 3:30, they're going to do their program, and they're going to perform, and they're going to tell stories, because I thought how wonderful for people to be able to hear what it was like, number one, to have music while you're there. Because if you're a musician, that's such a part of who you are. And then while they're there, to meet other people that have that passion for music. And they actually met through the Sunday services. They were playing music together through that. And then they started jamming late at night, playing, and just trying to sort of escape, I think, the realities of where they were. And so a lot of the big stars were coming there, and USO tours and things like that, but they weren't coming to the area where these guys were. And so they said, well, heck, we're going to put our own tour together. So they went on tour around Iraq and played for the other troops. So we're going to have them share stories about what that was like. Did they get any information from any of the people they played for? Were there people, that the impact had to be tremendous for these folks who were Americans serving in Iraq to hear bluegrass, even if they weren't necessarily bluegrass fans. It's such an American tradition of music.
Well, you you mentioned his name in the other room. He's been over in Iraq and
Buck
Afghanistan.
Rogers.
No, he's a country singer.
Oh.
And it's right on the tip of my tongue. American Soldier, he sings that.
Oh, Toby Keith.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And Toby Keith's been over several times.
Yeah.
And he's just made it his mission, to go and entertain our troops.
Well, and there are so many professional musicians now, and they do that in kind of like this. They're doing it as a way to give back to the troops, because they do so much for us, and everybody has their thing that they can contribute. But the sacrifice of the soldiers, the sacrifice that their families make to kind of give them up, and then also the challenges of the impacts of being in that type of a situation.
And
how
try
that impacts
playing
them.
in that atmosphere.
Yeah.
You don't know when a bomb's going to hit, or you're going to have to stop playing, or something. You have to might take cover, or
one of the fellas had sent some interesting sort of thoughts by Emery. His name is Emery Altman, and he had stuff in there like, we are truly a unique band. How many bands can say they had to have a complete blackout in the middle of their concert because they were, having bombs go off or whatever. So they'll be able to share some of those kinds of experiences that they had while they were there. So they're going to do that program from 2 to 3:30 on June 27th. It's a Saturday. And then we're going to kind of let them have a little break and breathe and compose themselves. And then from 5 to 8 that evening on the court square is when we do our first Pickin' on the Square of the summer, and they're going to kick it off for us. We always have a host band, so they're going to be our band for the host for that evening. And then we invite musicians to come, and it's really fun to be there, because you see little groups of individual musicians starting to group up with other musicians and form little bands and just do some jamming together, and then they can actually come up and perform as well throughout the evening. So we have people sign up if they're interested in playing, and then we just look at how many folks are signed up, how much time we have, and we sort of divvy it up that way. So it's a lot of fun. So even if you're not a musician, you can come and listen, and if you are a musician, you can come and actually get to join in the fun after the Hickabillys do their performance that evening.
Hickabillys.
So
I love that
Name's
name.
catchy.
Isn't that great? They call themselves the original Iraqi garage band.
Well, it's good they've got a sense of humor after all they've seen and been through over there.
And I was just thinking how therapeutic for them. That atmosphere over there, then to be able to pick up those instruments and, like I said, bring music that's into it, and for a little bit they forgot.
Yeah.
For maybe split seconds, but they were in a different time and a different place, just playing those instruments and bringing joy to the rest of the soldiers sitting there listening.
Absolutely.
And I would love, like I said, I would love to see some of the others' faces, like, what are they playing?
Yeah.
But it sounds like a great thing to do, and it says free admission. Now that's to the active duty military and the veterans.
Yep, any active duty military. The way the Blue Star Museums program works, and people can go on our website and get the in-depth information about the Blue Star Museums, because it actually has a listing of all the different identifications and classifications of the active duty military that qualify. But basically, any active duty military personnel and up to 5 family members can be admitted free, and we will use the Blue Star Museum guidelines, and then we also wanted to extend that to veterans as well. So any veterans, and a lot of veterans, they'll have identification in different methods, like through their driver's license or through their insurance cards. But if they don't, we're gonna give them the benefit of the doubt and look out for them. So they've done an awful lot for us.
Again, the city of Shelby came through.
Yeah, so the city of Shelby stepped up and made this possible, because in order to be able to know that we could just open it wide open to all those folks, and we hope that a lot of folks will take advantage of it. We wanted to know that we could have a little backup on that, and it costs some money to put the program on, and sound equipment and staging and all that kind of stuff as well. So they were very gracious to step up, and with a good cause like this, where you're supporting people that have given so much. I think they see the value in that as well. So we're real appreciative of that.
And summertime's just about here. It feels like summertime for sure these last few days, but summertime will be here officially before long. And what else do we have going on at the Earl Scruggs Center this summer of 2015?
All kinds of things. Of course, there's our regular ongoing exhibits, which celebrate Earl Scruggs and his legacy, but also the tagline is Music and Stories from the American South, because it explores so much more than just Earl and just bluegrass music. It looks at the music and the cultural traditions and the history of the region and the South as a greater whole. The other thing we have going on is a special exhibit that just opened in May, and it's running all the way through January. Our second floor has a special exhibit gallery where we put 2 special exhibits each year. And this one is called Feast Here Tonight, and it is about Southern food and music traditions. And we explore the sort of interwoven trails of how the music and the food of the South came to be. And there's a lot of similar roots there with the Irish, Scots-Irish, and African roots of the banjo and some of those kinds of things. And a lot of the Southern foods we eat also were brought over with enslaved Africans. And so we talk about that story as well. It's a really neat exhibit. And everybody loves food and everybody loves music, so they go perfectly together. And then we have a lot of good programs going on as well.
Good
Pintos and cornbread came to mind when you said that.
What did?
The pintos and cornbread, and of course you have to have a good onion, slaw. Sometimes we have poor men's suppers at church.
That's very common.
And it's always very popular. But I can't think of anything better to do, and we're going to try to get in touch with Buck Rogers and maybe have him call in on the 22nd if possible.
Yeah, we'll get in touch with them and see if he or some of the guys. It's Buck Rogers and Emery Altman, Winston Dixon, David Parker. I think I'm leaving somebody out. There's 5 of them, trying to go from memory. But it's going to be a really great group of guys telling some neat stories, I think. So we're excited about that. Another neat program that's coming up is on June 25th. It's a Thursday from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. And it is a fellow named Pat Kelleher and Ricky Kelleher, and they are doing a program. They're from Ireland, and they're in town in the area for something else, and we were very fortunate to get them to come and do a program with us. And they are going to do traditional Irish music and bluegrass music. So that's going to be really neat. And then we'll have our Pickin' on the Square series, which is June with the Hickabillies, and then July there's one, and August there's one. So we'll have a lead band. There's one called the Collard Kings that's coming, a fellow named Tom Hanchett, who's the historian at the Levine Museum of the New South. He's a part of this really neat band, and they're going to come down in August. So we just got a lot of fun things happening.
The Earl Scruggs Center, now, has the center been open a year yet?
Yes, actually, we're coming up almost on a year and a half.
Really?
We opened January 11th, or January 2014.
Wow, how time flies. That seems like yesterday we were talking about the opening. But, I mean, just it has brought so much to the heart of Shelby there in Cleveland County in this area, just so many different things. And it continues on. I mean, you're just keeping right in stride with the great features and exhibits.
Thanks. Well, it's been really exciting to watch, because with the Don Gibson Theater and the Earl Scruggs Center, and then all the great things in Uptown Shelby, there's an amazing coming together of so many different people and organizations. You've got the city of Shelby, you've got the county, you've got the Uptown Shelby Association, you have the merchants and the business owners. There's just all these different things that it's sort of like the perfect storm is all starting to come together, where everybody's working in tandem together. And our board chair has always said a rising tide lifts all ships. And so that seems to be happening. And as you watch, I walked out of the court square the other day. I walked out of the Earl Scruggs Center onto the court square, and I hear music, and I look, and there is a girl roller skating beside a boy on a doggone it, skateboard. And they both have ukuleles. And they're just literally rolling down the court square singing with their ukuleles. And those kinds of things are happening all over Uptown Shelby now. You'll walk out of the coffee shop and there'll be somebody singing or performing, and we're really becoming known for the music, and that's becoming an atmosphere here.
Fantastic.
Well, here's the Don Gibson, and here's the Earl Scruggs, so it's just wide open for music.
And that was the goal.
Oh yeah,
that was the goal.
Absolutely.
No.
So it sounds like a lot of good things coming up, Haley and Emily. Excuse me.
That's all right.
But let's see now. Wednesday at 10. Let's see.
Our regular hours.
Oh, that's your hours.
We're open Wednesday through Sunday, and Wednesdays are free for Cleveland County residents. So anybody from Cleveland County who comes in on a Wednesday, we actually extend our hours a little bit. So we're open from 10 to 6 on Wednesdays, and as long as they have an ID that can show their Cleveland County residents, they'll get in free.
Okay.
All right.
Regular admission is $12, and then 8 for 62 plus a college student.
That's correct.
And youth is $5, and under 5 is free.
You got it.
So it shows a small picture here, not very well, but maybe we can get Buck to call us and inform us about exactly what it was like.
Yeah.
Playing bluegrass in Iraq.
I'll get in touch with the fellas and see if they might be able to rally one or two of them to call you and chat with you.
Okay.
Great.
Well, we'll enjoy it.
Great.
All right.
Well, thank y'all so much.
Thank you for coming in
Yes,
today.
Emily.
Appreciate it very much. And it's Emily Epilly. Your title again at the Earl Scruggs Center is?
Executive Director.
Executive Director. Okay. Sandy, that's it for today
It is.
and for the week.
It is.
And how about, I know next week we've got a couple things planned so far.
We do. Dale Hartsky.
Got
and-
Harkey.
Harkey. Why I said
You keep going to put an
I'm
S
sorry,
in his
Daryl.
name.
I'm sorry, Daryl. Mr. Barefoot.
Dan Barefoot.
About the Battle of Ramsors.
And Doug Mays is supposed to get back with me about coming up here and joining those
And
guys.
the icon, Doug Mays.
Yeah.
And then on Wednesday, Tia Goins, a Nashville recording artist. I got to talk to her on the phone about a month ago. Very, very sweet girl. Absolutely beautiful voice. And she's going to be calling in from Nashville and talking about her career. And I declare she don't look 15, but she's married and worked at the famous Grand Ole Opry radio station.
WSM.
WSM.
Oh, nice. So she knows
And,
Eddie Stubbs.
Oh yeah. So she sent me several CDs. I gave Milton one to listen to, and she's just really, really good. And I'm hoping we can play a few of her songs for her. And, so we'll enjoy that.
All right. And before we go today, let me remind folks in Cleveland County and Shelby area, if you're a Cleveland County resident, the Lions Club has the distribution of food today at the fairgrounds until 11 or 11:30 or so today. So if you haven't been out there yet, take advantage of that opportunity. The Lions Club at the fairgrounds for Cleveland County residents, if you qualify for those distribution of food commodities there. All right.
That's right.
All right, folks, that's it for today. We appreciate you tuning in for the community profile, and we invite you to join us again next time right here on Big O Country and KTCBroadcasting.com.
Your official springtime fun station.
Having fun?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Big O Country, WOHS Shelby, WLON Lincolnton, WCSL, Cherville Gastonia, and online at ktcbroadcasting.com.